Let me check. Yes, we are. I just saw it right now.
Hi.
Okay. I can't pull it up. It says we're live, but I can't seem to pull it up in the page.
Yep, it's going. I see myself.
Okay. It's not registering on my phone yet. Just want to make sure if you guys could check on Facebook to make sure we are live. It says we're live, but I can't pull it up on my page.
I'm looking at it. It's good.
Okay, perfect. Okay, so welcome everyone. I just want to say good morning to everyone that is present, anybody that is watching through Facebook Live, anyone that will be watching this later on. Welcome and thank you for watching. Again, we are on day 6 of our Chakra Cleanse, and we are on the third eye. And so it's been a journey within these days. And JB, can you check the messages? Because I see 2 messages.
Yeah, turn off your phone. You're echoing.
Me or who?
You can't be having 2 videos at the same time. There's an echo. I'm just letting you know that's what the message.
Oh, okay. I don't have anything on. Nothing's on. I just have this on. This is it. Okay. I don't have anything on.
Or turn off your volume. You can turn off your volume. Possibly that'll help, JB.
Okay.
Turn off your volume.
Or I think we need to mute people. I could hear other people. Okay. So I just want to say good morning, and we're coming together. Healers Roundtable has been brought together because of a strong message I was getting from my guides that this needed to be done. You know, we all need to come together as healers to prepare for a transformation that is to come. And I keep referring to like the Knights of the Round Table, somewhat of the same concept, but it's, let me turn it, maybe it's the fan. Okay. And so just the same concept, but we're coming together for healing purposes. And not only for within ourselves, but to be prepared to share, like what Erica shared on day 2, becoming that pillar to help others become their own pillars, you know, because we need to prepare. We're all healers in that concept. Okay, so I really want us to tune into this third eye. I had a small conversation with Susan already, and she brought up a very good point that when we focus on opening the third eye, it's not just only through the front, but also through the back. And when we're going to start the session, I want everyone to focus on this third eye opening from the front and from the back. And so that's one thing that I just wanted to share before we start breathing and grounding, is having that concept of the third eye, that it not only just opens up through the front. And also it's this beautiful violet color. That's the color that we use for the third eye. And when you imagine this beautiful violet color opening, I also want you to clear it up with like what the picture shows right now, the slide that I have there. You see this beautiful white light, you know, just kind of coming off of this beautiful flower. And I want you guys to imagine that, because we really want to clear this third eye to be able to get that clear messages And we'll be sharing more about that after I clear it. So now what I want to do is I just want everyone to just sit nice, feet flat on the ground. If you can, your hands up just to receive. And I really want everyone to take 3 deep belly breaths.
As you take a deep breath, inhale through your nose, out through your mouth. Second one, we're going to hold for 7 seconds. In through your nose. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Out through your mouth. Third one, in through your nose. Out through your mouth.
So again, as you visualize your third eye chakra, every sound and every breath, make it grow bigger. Clear out anything that you see that does not belong there. I need everyone to take nice 3 deep belly breaths as you come back. And as you're coming back, I want you to continue visualizing this third eye chakra opening through the front and the back during this whole hour session together. So a little bit about us. Again, my name is Rebecca, my husband JB. Together we form Dual Dragons. We are holistic wellness consultants, also known as the Muscle Whisperers. And through our work, this is my sixth sense that I use the most. I am very intuitive when we work together. So does my husband. Our intuition is our strength within our work. And so it helps guide me. We've had a lot of clients that say, do you guys have magnets in your hands? Like, how do you guys know? How do you know where to find this, the source of the pain or where it comes from? You just, like, the minute you touch me, you're going to all the places, not only where where I'm feeling pain at the moment, but where I felt pain throughout my life. And I'm just pulling all of that up to the surface and just helping them heal. And so this is one of my tools that I use the most. And during the night, I sometimes have to remind my guides to let me sleep, or else I will be up all night with dreams or messages, waking up because they want to give me a message. Ever since I was a child, I actually experienced this. Whereas a child, I would have a lot of sleepless nights because they would all come wanting to talk to me and give me messages. And so it wasn't until another gifted person started, teaching me how to really talk to them and stabilize a healthy boundary with my guides, to let them know that there are moments where I needed to rest, rejuvenate, reboot, because they would take out a lot of me. And so with this, I always, whenever I'm using my tool, Susan brought up a wonderful thing is I bring logic in it. When I receive a message, is it clear what I'm seeing, what I'm visualizing, and then taking responsibility on the messages you receive. When I receive messages, I don't just automatically say them. I really just kind of like resonate with it. Is it for me? Is it for this person? Is it meant to be said? Am I just supposed to hold on to this, message or information? And as I'm working through the person, I'm just really taking my time with it. And most of the time, I will get the go with the client, not me. It's through the client, because the client all of a sudden will say something like, well, what do you think? I'm feeling this. What do you feel about this? And then that's when I will say, this is the message I've been getting. Do you want to hear it? And then that's when I get the green light. And so I'll start with a little bit. First, this is the first message I received, and let them resonate with it. And then as we're working on, this is the second message I received. Let them resonate with it. And so it's almost like a dance. Someone has to take a step forward, and I have to take a step back. Then I'll take a step forward, they take a step back. So we're waltzing throughout the session. And so at the end of the session is when we get the results. And the messages are clear, and they know what to do next. And so that's the part I love when I'm working on clients. And JB and I, we love that. Afterwards, when there's been big breakthroughs with our clients, we love to just sit and just kind of like resonate with what just happened. And we'll just have these deep conversations on how those messages were also meant for us. How did you receive that message? What do you think it's also, what else do we need to address within ourselves? Sorry about the background noise. It's trash day today here. I forgot about that. So with that, JB, do you want to share anything? I'm going to put myself on mute so that way I could control the noise level.
Yes, I want to share briefly my story, my first, experience sharing, me looking back at it now, happened into my third eye. I was probably barely one going into two. I think my mom was about to give birth to my baby brother or one of my younger brothers. And I was able to see this color, I guess, what was pain or discomfort for her. And I didn't know what it was. I just like, this doesn't look right. And my mom I see her hunched over almost in pain or discomfort. And I just placed my hands on her back. And again, I, one or two didn't really have logical thinking. I just don't want her to be in pain was what I could recall my thoughts at that time. And I could feel through my hands and see, I guess, recognizing it now through my third eye of this energy or color that was not giving my mom comfort and almost like pulling it from her, removing this heavy blanket of whatever that emotion and how she was reacting was not well, and that wasn't meant for her. And just almost like playing with it for a moment before it just kind of fell to the ground and the energy kind of got filtered through the earth. And looking back up, she was kind of sitting up. She stopped crying. She was able to kind of compose herself. And we went about our day. And that's almost every day since that moment. I was able to see this for briefly. And my family and friends would ask me, can you massage me, you know, my foot, my leg? And I was a little kid. They know I didn't have much pressure. But they sensed something. But most adults in my family at that time obviously kind of brush it off because they really wasn't open or talkative. They really were strict Catholic, especially from Hispanic Mexican culture. So there's not something that I could have developed later on, or actually recently through these wonderful sessions Rebecca said we attend to kind of help ourselves cleanse, helps ourselves grow through wisdom, that through the part of my family in life that I cut off being my biological dad and their craziness, my grandfather, his biological dad, which I never heard of or met, happens to be of a shaman bloodline. And with that, until recently, recognizing one of my guides happens to be my grandfather, I never met or talked to until I recognized that guardian I've been talking to has been my grandfather this whole time, to really tap in and to see him and to hear the messages to other healers that have an open, clear vision through their third eye, help me clear up my third eye so that I could continue giving unconscious messages. And I'm talking about, or not unconscious, conscious messages. And that being said, I love the definition that I've learned through a wonderful practice called active consciousness. Conscious is to be aware of everything and judge nothing. If you want to write that down, conscious is to be aware of everything and judge nothing. So how can I be more conscious? How could we be clear on what we envision and visualize? Are we taking responsibility on the message we receive? And we talked about it a few times. It's like receiving that seed of message. Is it for me to be that planter, the gardener, the farmer, and make it grow? Or is it me to kind of keepsake until I find the right soil or right client to plant that seed? And they might not be the one to grow. They might have that message or that seed to pass it on to someone that's meant to receive it. And they're going to hopefully put in the effort, if they choose to, tap in and make that message fruition to what it was meant to be for them. And this has been a fascinating journey. And yes, I'll just leave you with that for now.
So I want to just kind of start veering into our guest speaker. We've had the wonderful pleasure of knowing Susan now for almost, in November, it'll be 3 years. So Susan, she's a consultant of empowering humans. She's a registered RMT in Texas, means registered massage therapist, structural integration, and myofascial release. And so she's talking to us all the way from Texas, beautiful Texas. And I just really, whenever we come together in, in trainings for personal development, I love, just listening to her talk. She's quiet like me. We're very quiet, but when we talk, it's very powerful. And I love that about her. So I'm gonna go ahead and stop sharing so we could, oops, I pressed on the wrong button, hold on. There we go, I'm back.
So thank you for that wonderful introduction. I just love being around Rebecca and JB. And what is wonderful for me is the fact that they are always looking to their spirit to guide them. And they truly are embracing what the third eye is all about. When you look at what you have been through over the last 5 days before this, yesterday when you were talking about opening up that throat chakra, both Rebecca and Pauline were bringing in the knowledge from the third eye into why they chose to yes, my English sometimes, even though it is my first language and personally only language for the most part, sometimes comes out a little broken. You speak to somebody about something, you are deciding, is this the right thing to share with them? Is this my information for me to be aware of? Or is it something that is truly to be shared with them? We are, through the third eye, bringing in the mental balance to the physical body and the emotional things that we have picked up at each one of the chakras along the way. My massage background comes in after 25, almost 30 years in architecture. And people would look at me and wonder, why would I make that kind of a choice in life? It was not going off of the standards of what others were doing. It was requiring me to look at life from that third eye, to make choices that supported me on my journey of life. And I think as healers, we can frequently be so influenced by what others are telling us we should feel because we feel what they say so deeply that it is hard for us without that benefit of the beauty of the world that the third eye can bring into us and the messages from above for us to really decipher the best course for ourselves, and that sometimes we do not have to hold the energy they share with us. So frequently you will hear a healer talk about how exhausted they are. You know, they're taking on the traumas of their clients. This is about doing it with detachment, but awareness. That self-detachment from what you are knowing, that, as JB said earlier, no judgment. It is all about you bring this in so you can decipher what you do need to hold and what you let go of. And as healers, you will experience what others are going through. It is so crucial, and that's why frequently we will put that white light around us before we even work with people, so that we know we are not taking on somebody else's experiences, judgments. We need to be open and clear, clarity of thought, the ability to have an independent mind is very, very crucial in how we use this third eye to take the root experiences and everything that you feel in your heart and what you want to say to the world and make sure it is balanced with knowing and that you have taken in from above. So whether it's God, the universe, your guiding spirits, all those things bring things in through that seventh chakra. And today what we're doing is opening up our mind to be able to take those things in and balance out through thinking and reasoning how we put them into play in our lives and how we choose to share or not share with others. My work in structural integration, we always first open up laterally along the lines because we're trying to open up the breathing, make it easier for somebody to breathe freely as we start to release things. But we start with the feet and up the legs, and through basically you're working up the chakras. So yesterday when we were talking about the freedom to speak, when we do that work in the mouth and we release the jaw and stuff, we always warn them, be careful, you may not realize you are going to say to somebody something you have been holding back for years, decades. You will not know where the power to say this came, but it was that muscle memory that had been holding back that emotion that is all of a sudden being freed. That's where you need that power of the sixth chakra, the beautiful light coming into that third eye to help you go, yes, I may need to share this. Maybe I need to share it in a different way. Maybe I need to say I would like this better if, instead of I hate. It is that being able to share in a way that honors them. Rebecca and JB and I met through bank training that we were doing, which is a communication style. And I think the three of us resonated with it because it is taking what we do intuitively and giving it a way that we can express to others how they can see those things. Each of us find tools in life that resonate with us. I love to garden. I love to cook. I love to sit around the table and have fabulous, deep conversations with people. Those are the things that feed my soul. I have to recognize those are not the same things that feed others. Some want to be jumping out of airplanes and doing things that are exciting as ever for them. And to me, I look at and go, that is the dumbest thing I've ever thought about doing. That does not mean I am in judgment for them choosing to do it. It just means I recognize what works for me may not work for them, and allow them to be the person they want to be. As healers, we frequently think we should be changing everybody so that they have a better life. One of the things we have to recognize is that maybe that soul came to this earth because they wanted to feel what that pain was. Maybe they have lived this life before and said, this time I want to find out what it is that I saw in another life, but now I need to experience it. One of my favorite mentors that I've followed for years is Matthew Ferry. His father does a lot of high dollar real estate coaching about how to improve sales and all these things. Matthew grew up working with his father, but had the luxury of having somebody like Wayne Dyer as a family friend. And his connections through Wayne opened up Matthew's mind to the fact that he wanted to work with the consciousness side of how people influence others and how we view life. And so he pulled into a more conscious view of coaching. And some of his things that I have loved was when he said, when somebody has done something that you feel really was aimed at you, you need to step back and go, were they working with what they had to work with? Was the skill and the effect of everything that has been dumped on them meant that was their best choice to relate to you in this moment, not because of what it did to you, but because it was their only way of expressing it for themselves. And when you start to look at it from that respect, all of a sudden you can go, I don't need to take on what they threw at me, because it was more about where they were coming from. And the fact that we clashed into each other at this point is where I can now see their pain. And through my third eye ability to look wider at the world, recognize that this is a person in crisis on their own, and I don't own that energy. So how I would love to close this is I keep this little frame on my desk, and one of the things that I did at an event with Matthew Ferry's group is he uses this as a way to clear negative energy. And I thought this was perfect with the third eye. I am infinite potential. Please set the intention for enlightened consciousness to flow through, to experience the purity of my own consciousness, and to cast out any expression of consciousness not fully my own and embrace pure consciousness exactly as it is, to know all is well, to embrace life, people, and circumstances exactly as they are. Please set the intention to release my need for things to be different, to practice total and complete acceptance of all people in all situations at all times, including myself. I don't know about you, but that including myself, that issue of forgiveness, not just for others, but for yourself. The burdens you take on that you feel you must because of something that someone has said to you that was their impression, not your reality. Allow them to hold their ideas and recognize they're not yours. Allow that light to come in and shine upon you in a way that allows you to raise your vibration in life. The book Power versus Force talks about the energetic levels of living, where things are at a low energy level. Those of us who are healers tend to raise our energy level. And when we are at a higher vibration, we can offset a lot of negativity in the world. So if we heal ourselves, in doing so, we are broadening the energy of the world and rising up that energy. And I thank you all for being here with us today to do that, and look forward to what tomorrow and the seventh chakra will bring to us. Thank you.
No, I really liked what you read on that frame. And so I was thinking like, oh, I'm going to ask her to type it up on our Facebook page so we could just have it there. That would be beautiful, you know, just to be able to go back and if anyone wants to get a copy of it, they could save it, you know, because I really like that. And
Yeah.
so, yeah.
He will in a room literally walk around and go, somebody's energy dropped, and he'll have his mastermind all energy checking to see where it's happening. And when he walks up to you and says it's you, you're like, oh, what happened? Where did my thought go in that moment? It is something we all have to consciously work at, because we have those negative things thrown at us, and we have to know how to release them and not hold them, how to not let them hold us back.
Exactly. JB, did you unmute everyone or give the opportunity for everyone to unmute? Okay. So if you guys have any questions for Susan, for ourselves, you know, JB and I, and go ahead and unmute and ask away.
Oh, come on. Anybody else? I was waiting for a minute. Patty, you want to come on? I feel you. Okay, I just want to make sure.
Thank you, Michael. I know you and I are waiting. It's like we've learned to kind of step back.
Yeah.
Wait, I just want to say thank you, Susan. Michael, you take it.
Thank you. Love you, Patty. So we are Alice and Michael. This is my wife, Alice. We are Alice and Michael with Samadhi Sea of Wisdom Meditation Online School, serving locally, humbly from our hearts out of Yuma, Arizona, all over the world. And we just want to thank Susan for that great message and showing up today and giving back from your heart and truly showing up for everyone, because you speak for so many.
Thank you.
I just want to thank you for all the work that you do, because it takes work to what? Oh, make us big. I'm an amateur. I'm not a techie at this thing.
If you put it on speaker view, you will be big.
Oh, okay. It doesn't say speaker view. Okay, whatever it is, it is. Thank you.
It don't matter.
One thing I would like to share is, it's not a coincidence, because Rebecca, this is the way that we see life. And when you were talking and the garbage truck was in the background, it was synchronicity from the universe, source, spirit, God, life, letting us know that this is confirmation, that if we, because it doesn't matter how rich or poor we are, we all need our trash taken out from the trash truck. So what does this mean? That we're all one, and we need to know when to let go, like Susan was saying. And one practice that really helps me is to realize that my third eye is always open.
Always.
My two eyes are filtering that third eye. So when I take the time to lower my senses, it's already proven that, you know, when somebody goes blind, their ears activate because our ears are already at their, our ears can awaken a greater potential because we're only using about less than 5% of our ears, so to speak. I'm not a professional, but our ears are not being used at their maximum potential. So when we lose a faculty, our other faculties, our energy raises that potential. So when you lower, and this is what it means, not judging, when you lower your judgment of your vision, even of things that you see, and you go beyond what you think you're seeing, your third eye enhances because you're saying that there's a deeper truth inside of you and you're seeing from a deeper truth. So what I would love everybody to invite them to practice is don't judge even what you're seeing. Like when you see a tree, go beyond what you think you're seeing, because it's not even just judging people, it's judging life as it's showing up. And to realize that in the simplistic form is that our third eye is always open, always open. I mean, you are living, viewing your third eye filtered through these eyes. So to realize that your third eye is open, and to, like Susan and Rebecca was saying, dance with that. Dance with that awareness that your third eye is open, that you are allowing it, not allowing it, you are
Experiencing.
surrendering to it.
Mhm.
You are surrendering to what already is as you let go of trying to see your reality, let go and surrender to your reality. And that's from the non-judgment. So Rebecca, I love what you read. I would like to excuse me, Susan, there. And see, that's what happens when we shift, because you know, you say you speak English, but when you're tapping into that, it's like, what was I saying again? Um, so thank you so much, Susan, and thank you, Rebecca, for doing this for everyone again. So thank you.
May I add one more thing? Everybody, when you go to a presentation, always says sit in the front of the room. As an energy worker, because I feel what's behind me from that third eye, I purposely sit at the back of the room. I need to take in the full room. If I'm sitting at the front of the room, there is so much noise behind me from the crowd that I can't focus on what's at the front of the room. And people will tell you, oh, you are not sincere about this if you don't sit in the front of the room. You have to understand how you feel and experience the world to know where is the right spot for you to be. And for me, the back of the room, what I love about it is then I do have that, in a sense, broader open view. I not only see what the information is being presented to me, but I actually get to watch how the crowd experiences. And as you said, dances with it. And the other thing I find is because I'm sitting in the back of the room, sometimes I pick up on the subtleties of some presenters that are great on stage, but when you actually hear how they talk from the back of the room amongst themselves, you recognize that it is more of a front they put up as a stage presence than an actuality in life. And so I love to be back there where they don't have that stage presence on. And you can see how they relate to things and you find how people are flowing in and out. And for me, that dance of life is as much about what the event is as what's happening on stage. So find that way that resonates for you to take in information. Find that way that resonates for you to let the world be seen.
Patty?
Yes.
I know you want to say something. Go ahead.
No, it's really amazing to me as I'm listening. This morning, I'm being the fox. Okay. The fox is the observer. I expressed myself quite a bit yesterday of a vision that it has, come to fruition, or it's still unfolding and expanding. And so today anyhow, so what I want to say, first of all, thank you, Michael, is Susan, thank you so much. There were a few things that stood out for me, and part of that was the structural. You had talked about the structural piece, and also the other is the I want to share an experience from what I just heard. As I was listening to you about sitting in the back of the room, the front of the room, I like to arrive early to prepare and be set up. And this morning I arrived a little late. I mean, I wasn't late to the beginning of this, and yet I was late for my standards. And so what that does sometimes is it throws me off balance in that energy. So my story is that a while back, I was invited to this psychic fair, and all these spiritual people, they were just all very, it was really announced as this spiritual guru, psychics and all this juicy good stuff. And I was like, all right, I'll go, because a dear friend invited me. So I drove in, and because it was a late invitation, I arrived a little late. So I stood in the background and I waited for the speaker to stop, because I didn't want to interrupt the speaker. So the people in the back said, no, there's a seat. So I finally went and sat down. During the breaks, I went to a and I was just like, I was in my element. My family teases me that they say that I walk into a room and I'm dancing, life, love, life, and just love, peace, and they say I'm really calm and all that stuff. And I'm like, okay, I'll take that, right? Well, I did that. I was there in that lovely, centered, just beautiful, divine place. And when I went to approach some of these speakers, in the back, there was a lot of grumbling that was going on. So I like to sit in the front of the room most of the time, because I listen and see without my eyes and ears, which is what my father taught me to do very early. And I'm clairsentient, so I sense everything. So I want to be up front, so I won't be distracted like the squirrel. Well, during the breaks, I approached different people, the different speakers, because I wanted to learn. I love to learn and grow. Michael and I, share that in common, all of us here, obviously. And they were like, no, and they were repelled by my flowing energy. And I was really rooted, and people were coming up, other people, the guests were, attendees were coming up to me and saying, wow, I love your energy. You have this amazing energy. You're so calm. And I could you're exuding this love and all this stuff, right? And some of these psychics, because of their element, their speakers, I'm not sure what was going on. So it's a long story I understood what was happening. It wasn't me. I mean, it was me because I was there, and it wasn't me. I had to really honor my bubble. I have what I call the maze bubble, that everything at the tips of my fingers and everything above and below my feet is my bubble. And a lot of empaths say to me, and even there at that fair, that psychic conference, is as an empath, people's negative energy, oh my goodness, what do I do about that? And I say, we're all empaths. We're all empaths. And you only receive it when you take it, when you let these people into your bubble. And so make sure that your bubble is clear, that, you bathe it, you wash it like a windshield of a car, just make it very clear. So I guess my question, from what I said, related to something I heard you, or a lot of what I heard you say. I was in the background, but I was here really intently listening, and I was more feeling what I was hearing you say. What would you add to that when someone walks into a room and you're feeling so good, and but yet the speakers aren't? What is that about? Can you give me a little insight on that?
Two things. For some speakers, they are truly so into what they're doing at that moment that they feel they have to, in a sense, create that blockage around themselves, or they are picking it up from everybody and they cannot be the presenter they're supposed to be. So they are, when you were talking about that protective bubble you've created for yourself, Imagine as the speaker and you're trying to make sure your message is delivered in a form that all will take in, but you are feeling 100 people coming at you. That bombastic energy, not yours personally, but everybody's in the room, ends up being something they've, in a sense, had to create a shield around themselves in order for them to receive what they're receiving and deliver it. That's one.
Okay.
That's one. And then there are those who have now bought their own BS.
Okay, thank you for that.
There are both out there. And I have known some that give so fully that when the break comes, they have to go retreat in order to restore themselves. And part of my liking to be in the back of the room is because we do feel those things, we start to, with that open sense of ours, be able to sense the difference between who is recharging themselves and who is putting something out as a protection so that they do not disintegrate in the moment because they're feeling so much, and who is just too full of themselves to be open to others. I've seen both. Yeah. I really have seen both.
Thank you for that response, because yes, it is, and I always bring in a third perspective, you know, as Alice always reminds me of the Mace Poppins, the perspective work about there's always more than those two perspectives, right? And as we know, and I guess there's that part of me that however I behave in the bathroom, however I behave in the kitchen or at Alice's home or Rebecca's or your home or whoever else is on the screen here, is how I behave when I'm alone, is how I choose to be wherever I am, with full on expression and whole. And I know not everybody is capable of doing that. And it takes me back to that ability to respond. And that one really has stayed true to me, that because I take full responsibility, like for instance, when guides come and they give messages, oh, my guides told me to tell you this. And I say, no, okay, you're out. Because my feeling is this, that I'm responsible. I'm getting messages from guides, but I'm responsible for how I'm delivering that information, how I'm presenting that information, similar to what Rebecca had mentioned earlier. And so I really, I don't want to take up more time because there's a lot more attendees here that perhaps may have a question, but I would love to have a further conversation, and perhaps after this call.
Patty, can I ask you, who is Patty?
Oh, I am Patty. I am me. I am love. I am the divine.
I know, but like, I just love that when you introduce yourself.
Oh, thank you so much, Michael. I am Patty Mays, and I am a spiritual guide, holistic business life coach, and I'm founder of Unib of Soul, which is a resource center that helps you become interdependent in your relationships, whether it's personal or professional, you know, business relationships. And that's because I have learned to thrive in my life, and I am here to help you thrive, to help you step into your best self, to step into your brilliance, because everyone has brilliance. And I trust that, I believe that. And so that is our business here at Unib of Soul. Thank you so much, Michael. I feel
You're amazing. I want other people to
oh, thank you.
feel your amazingness.
Thank you.
Love you, Patty.
Oh.
Susan, I do have one question. I guess in the sense of using your third eye. As a healer and the transition of technology, how do you maintain your clear vision and still deliver amazing results for your clients that you may have to now go through Zoom via, as a healer, we're used to that touch and in-person experience?
For me, I haven't done as much body work. I traditionally would at this time of year be working with the SMU football team. and doing massage therapy for them. And when that came up as an option for me, because I have other ways of supporting myself, not just my body work, I literally said, let the other healers who don't have another opportunity work with them. Because they were not using as many of us as they would in the past, simply, in COVID and distancing and all of that. Part of it for me is because we connect through energy, we connect through words. I think a lot of healing, as much as it is touch, is also connection of mind, body, and spirit. And sometimes we can help them release that through other modalities. A story I'll share is because I'm for those that know Reiki, I'm only level 2. I don't claim to be a master. However, my dad had double knee replacement, and he had, typically they'll do one and then they'll do another. But because he had a blood issue, that it was a blood infection that they swore from World War II was still in his system, they were not willing to open him up on 2 different occasions. So they said to do his surgery, they would do both knees at one time. My parents lived in Iowa. I was in Texas. Dad was in incredible pain. And my mom called and she says, I know you're not here, but what could you tell your dad to do to help reduce his pain? And I said, well, just go tell him to sit in his recliner and I'll send him a Reiki treatment. Mm-hmm. And I knew he didn't know what that was, but I said, just tell him to go sit there and I'll talk to you guys later. And so I did I walked through in my mind the healing. I focused on his knees. I focused on him breathing easier and stuff. And about an hour later, my dad calls and he goes, all right, how do you spell it? And what the heck were you doing? He says, all of a sudden I was asleep. And he used some words that, I won't say here, but he was just shocked that he managed to fall asleep sitting in the chair. And he's like, okay, now how can I go research this? Now, for those friends of mine here that know a little bit about bank, you can tell my dad's got a lot of knowledge in him, but he's also blueprint, and this did not fall within the realm of his understanding of the world. I said, Dad, what do you feel about prayer? And I explained to him, it's sort of like I said, God, I know where my dad is sitting. I know where his pain is. Send him energetically some love that will heal him. Mm-hmm. Sometimes you have to take it to that basic level of where they're at in understanding, instead of trying to turn it into an explanation of the big flow of energy that we know is in the world. When The Secret came out, my dad watched it and he was curious with conversation and such. And at that time, this would have been 2008, before the fall of everything that happened that fall. Or maybe, no, it would have been the year before, 2007. And I typically would take my breaks to drive to Iowa to see family when I had finished big architectural projects, when I knew I didn't have as many clients and I could take a few days to hit the road and go do this. And my dad, being that very practical man, would say, well, you don't have any work this week? Because when you're self-employed, you do something and you make money, you don't do something and you don't make money. And he would go, well, but you don't have work this week. What are you going to do when you get back? And I'm like, I don't know exactly, but something will show up. And he goes, well, how do you know that? I said, there is this thing called trust in the universe. There is this thing of balance. My architecture work seems to get bigger when all of a sudden a client says, I'm having surgery, I won't be able to have work for this week, or I'm traveling, I'll be out of town. It was just odd to me that how for 10 years, the yin and yang of what showed up when I needed it was there, as long as I trusted the universe to provide. Didn't focus on the lack of, but focused on the fact that all of a sudden I had space to breathe. I had space to restore me in this moment between other things happening. And I think those of us who could take what's happened this year and say, how did that allow me to reframe my life to serve me and serve others in a way that serves the world and ourselves better, becomes important. It allows some of our clients to understand that the crap they have been feeding themselves, doing to themselves, does not serve them, and where they counted on us to fix them because they didn't fix themselves. We have to help them figure out how our body work, our energy work is one aspect of their taking responsibility for themselves to make their lives better and make the world better. And that's that yin and yang of life that is beautiful and treacherous all at the same time.
Thank you for sharing, Susan. We're going to take a moment. If you'd like to engage, we're going to do that clearing session of the ancient Hawaiian Ho'oponopono, which translates to make right twice. So if you would like to interact, you can unmute yourself. If not, just rephrase or repeat what I say and just process this amazing technique within you. Take a deep breath. Second breath, hold. Third breath. Oh, shake it off. Now let's begin. I love you.
I love you.
I'm sorry.
I'm sorry.
I'm sorry.
Please forgive me.
Please
forgive me.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I love you.
I love you.
I am sorry.
I
am sorry.
Please forgive me.
Please
forgive me.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I love you.
I
I love you.
I'm sorry.
I'm sorry.
I'm sorry.
Please forgive me.
Please forgive
me.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I release you.
I release
I
you.
release you.
I accept you.
I accept you.
I accept you.
Now, for those on Facebook, thank you for joining us. We are about to stop recording and disconnect from Facebook. And for those want to stay, we'll hold a space of 30 minutes for us to interact, ask whoever's the longest any questions or any connections. Till then, thank you, people on Facebook. Anything to say, Rebecca?
Yes, just really thank you so much for being present. And also just a reminder again today that I have added a day 8, and we're from 7:30 to 8, just a 30-minute block. Make sure to attend. I will be sounding all 7 bowls. So we're going to be doing a chakra healing cleanse on day 8. No talking, no interacting. It's just simply going to be a cleanse and then an announcement of what is coming up next for November 1st through the 7th. Okay, so I hope everyone could join in that day just to really receive that healing. If not, it will be on Facebook Live for sure. Okay.
One last note, please make sure to invite friends and family, other healers that you know are connected to this amazing group at the Healing Roundtable on Facebook, or they can also find us on Meetup too to get any updates for other events to come up. Thank you so much, and we're ending the recording now.